Good Monday morning, Sonor family. Jules here, and hope you had a good weekend. As you probably know, it's really Sunday afternoon as I'm filming this. But just to try to be as authentic as possible, I did just wake up from a nap, so not 100% running on all eight cylinders at the moment. So I think that's befitting of the situation. And if you've never really thought about this before, a lot of people only have to get out of the bed and face the day once a day. So people that take naps are really pretty bold people because we're having to do that multiple times a day, getting up and facing the world for the first time after waking up. All right, well, that was an attempt at humor. Maybe tomorrow. All right, let me get my list going here. I don't have a lot to talk about. The Near Z interview came out Saturday. So if you have not seen that, please do. That's been a long time coming. It took a long time to get that arranged. And then once we got it done, it took a long time to get it done. And something I did not notice as I was cleaning it up before releasing it finally, there was mentions of the upcoming UK drum show, which has now passed, but that didn't waste up a lot of bandwidth there. So it doesn't negate the rest of the benefit of watching the interview. But real good interview, and is another guy that's a big vintage Sonor vintage series fanatic. And so anyway, watch that and let me know in the comments what you think, or let me know on the forum. Speaking of the forum, let's go see what our active topics are right now. Where's the line between heavy duty and over engineering? So I got to thinking about some things, and the signature series drums were so over the top in a lot of ways, and some of it just for the hell of being over the top, I think. And specifically, what I was thinking about at the time was the spur brackets. The signatures and the phonic pluses utilized some extremely bulky bass drum spur brackets. And, so my question was this really over the top, or were they dealing with a known or potential issue, or what? So if you have an opinion about those brackets and whether or not they solved a problem or just added even more weight to an already really heavy drum, go on the forum and let me know what you think there. I've got a thing here about my thoughts on Phil Rudd, and then a couple of videos of Let There Be Rock, one from 81, I think, in Landover, and then one in '09, which was his last tour with AC/DC in Argentina, I think. Um, let's see what else we got. A little query here about the bass drum tom mounts. Really thinking of ordering an SQ2 set, and I'm debating between the standard or the rocket, the standard bass drum mount, the tom mount on the bass drum. Keep in mind, I have not had coffee this afternoon. Um, or the rocket launcher. I think the rocket launcher is a little bit overkill for my use. This is going to be a 14-inch deep bass drum and then probably a 12-inch tom tom. And the post is so high. I kind of am surprised they haven't offered a shorter option for that post. But it is so thick and beefy, and for big rock drums, I can see that. But for, modern size toms, especially smaller ones, seems a little overkill. So there ought to be a happy medium somewhere between the standard and that rocket launcher. And I mean on the rocket launcher platform, the rocket launcher mount, the plate, no sense in changing, no need to change that. But the arm that goes in there, they could offer a not so obtrusive model of that for somebody that's going to go with a smaller tom or two smaller toms. Got some more sonar spotting. Um, let's see. Content suggestions. trying to get some ideas of what to talk about on Coffee with Jules. So if you have any ideas of things I should talk about, let me know. Sometimes there's all kinds of stuff to talk about without having to work at it. Sometimes, like today, just kind of scraping around for something to come up with. Somebody started a post earlier, about a little over a week ago. Changes needed for SQ2 to stay relevant. You may want to go opine on that. Um, I personally feel like SQ2 is relevant, and just because we don't see lots of them in the neighborhood doesn't mean the factory's not putting them out you know, quite frequently. Um, oh, part two of the Jack DeJohnette Steve Smith interview has come out. I might have talked about this Friday. I don't remember. Um, but what a poignant thing at this point. Can't, don't know when they did this. This was filmed a while back, as I understand. And when they did this, don't know if they had a pretty good idea that Mr. DeJohnette was running out of time or whatever. Um, but just interesting timing that, he passed literally a day or two after the first installment of that was released. Um, Losing momentum. When does a Sonor series get the axe? This is a topic I started, and I'm just curious, because and I know that's changed along the way a number of times. I think sometimes certain series get where they're not performing as well. Sometimes I think they just maybe come up with a new idea, and even though a current model at that moment might not have run its course, they still have a new idea or concept that, meets a market demand that the current one doesn't or whatever. So, this all this stuff is kind of put in your 2 cents in your opinion. There's no right or wrong answers. Um, the only thing I do require on the forum is that if you're going to talk about things Sonar does or whatever, that they be factual. I don't mean you can't have an opinion. If you feel like something they're doing um, is not on par with the way they used to do it, I don't have an argument with that kind of a statement. Um, Unless it's a recurring theme, unless everything that comes out of your mouth is anti-Sonar, that's not what we're shooting for on the forum. Um, and there's just no need for that. But you know, that's the deal with that. And let's see, interview schedule. Got an interview I'm working on in post production. Maybe have it out next weekend, I hope. Um, and I guess that's pretty much it. We've got several Sonar spottings. Um, Anyway, don't have a lot to talk about right now. The let's see, we're within 2 months of the end of Sonar's 150th year in business. And I don't mean to keep, scratching at scabs, but you know, looks like we're going to close this out without anything. I'm not buying anything from Guitar Center Musicians Friend for the sake of having, you know, basically a production run item with a special badge. I'm just not going to do that. Um, that was a very, I don't know what the deal was with doing those two compressor steel snare drums, but they really failed to put anything in my wheelhouse, I guess you could say. I mean, if I wanted to, I could have bought the AQ2, but you know, um, just wasn't for me. Anyway, so that's that. And maybe I should have waited until I was awake a little better, have a little bit better tone. I might not sound like I'm as upbeat as I ought to be for an early Monday morning, but I'm in a good mood. Things are good. Um, so, we're looking at about 2 weeks or less, but, before the Momentum series hits the shelves at the dealers. It's going to be interesting seeing dealer videos coming out. So I think that's going to be really exciting. And I would anticipate that at least one dealer is going to do a comparison type thing, maybe even to the point of mixing them up. And I think it'd be kind of silly if they didn't, because that is the whole point of the way they've executed the series. It would be neat to see, and there's not really that many combinations if you think about it. If you're going to split it up where you've got toms in one, wood, snare in one, and bass drum in one, there's only what, nine configurations of that off the top of my head. Um, Maybe not that many, maybe six. Anyway, haven't done the math. But the point still is, with the caliber of videos that some retailers are putting out now, it would not be far-fetched to do that. And so hopefully we will hear something along those lines coming soon. Uh, It'll be neat to see who buys one. So if you know of somebody getting one, or if you're going to get one, comment and let us know what you're getting. We're going to want to know what your finish is. We want to know what your wood selection is, or if you're going to order a la carte and have different woods for different drums. Very interested to see how this all shakes out. Um, you know, this is the first time that multiple woods have been offered in a production run drum, and I think people online anyway, and I'm going to say this again, but the people online do not necessarily represent a huge cross section of people that are buying Sonor gear. I know a lot of folks in my circle that do a lot of things they don't go online talking about. Some of them don't go online talking about it at all. And so, I think anybody that thinks that we're witnessing everything Sonar has going on the retail end, sales wise, think we're, if you think we're seeing all that in the Sonar uh, Facebook pages and whatnot, you're really wrong, because there's so much going on that people just don't go online and and talk about. So there's going to be a lot of things happening that we don't see, but hopefully some things coming around that we do get to see. And so keep me in the loop if you know of anything or have anything going on you think is interest to anybody, and we will talk about what to do going forward on getting that out there for folks if you're interested in doing that. So anyway, that's going to wrap me up for a Monday morning. Hope you have a great day. If I don't have any other content come out this week, and right now there's nothing planned, but that could always change and at the drop of a hat. So see you Friday. Thank you.